GCO, so here we are with the next instalment of Vulgar the Viking and the Great Gulp Games. So, Chapter 6, Run Reindeer Run. Vulgar had never ridden a reindeer before. He wasn't quite sure where you held on, but the antlers were as good a place as any, he guessed. The reindeer he sat on was light grey with drooping shoulders and sad eyes. Beside him, Gunnar straddled his reindeer. Gunnar's reindeer was so dark it was almost black. It stomped the ground with its powerful legs and blew steam from its wide nostrils. Vulgar's reindeer just munched the grass. "Even a bolt of Thor's lightning won't make that old nag gallop," said Gunnar annoyingly. Not for the first time since climbing on it, Vulgar wondered if he'd chosen the wrong reindeer. There was no time to worry about that now, though. Harump stood at the starting line beside him. "All the way around the course and back here," he told them. "No shortcuts, no funny stuff. Anyone falls off and they're disqualified. Disqualified." He shook his head. "Forget it. Anyone falls off and they're out." You can win this, Vulgar," shouted Freya from the spectators' area. "Don't fall off and get trampled," added Knut. Harump cupped his hands around his mouth. "Bang!" he shouted, and both reindeer shot forwards, or rather Gunnar's reindeer shot forward. Vulgar's sauntered slowly from 7 or 8 metres, then stopped to nibble a patch of grass. Vulgar looked along the track. Gunnar was charging ahead, hanging on to his reindeer's antlers for dear life. "He's getting away," yelped Vulgar. The reindeer ignored him and kept chewing. "Move!" bellowed Freya, and suddenly the animal bucked and leapt into life. It raced forward, forcing Vulgar to cling tightly to its neck. Terrified of the screaming girl behind it, the reindeer was soon matching the speed of the one in front, but Gunnar had a big head start. They thundered across the field, then out onto the path that led around the pond. The cheering of the crowd sounded a long way away. "Can't you go any faster?" asked Vulgar. The reindeer didn't change its pace. Then Vulgar had a brainwave. "You like vegetables, right?" he said. "I'll make you a deal. If you speed up, I'll give you all my vegetables for the rest of my life." Vulgar wasn't sure if the animal understood him, but he felt the reindeer's stomach rumble, and it began to run faster. Its hooves beat against the ground like a drum, and Vulgar had to hold on tight to avoid being blown off its back. Vulgar pulled up alongside Gunnar. "Oh, Loki here, I've caught you up," said Vulgar. "Oh, no you haven't," shrieked Gunnar. The boy from Gulp leaned over, pulled off Vulgar's helmet and dropped it over its reindeer's ears. "Whoa!" cried Vulgar as his reindeer lost control and ran off the path. With the helmet covering its eyes, the reindeer blundered through a row of gardens, trampling carrots and tearing up cabbages as it went. And then, suddenly and without warning, it stopped. Vulgar was catapulted off the animal's back. He flapped his arms like a bird as he sailed through the air, hoping he could learn how to fly. He couldn't, though, and he landed with a splat in a large heap of smelly elk manure. 10 minutes later, Vulgar walked the final few steps into Bragi's field, where he found the crowd waiting for him, holding their noses. In the distance, he could see a terrified Gunnar still clinging onto his reindeer, which had crossed the finish line and decided to keep on going. "Hard luck," said Freya sympathetically, "but when you fall off a reindeer, you've just got to get back on again." Knut shook his head. "Actually, it's goat hurdling next, so you'd better not." "Point to Gulp on account of Vulgar being disqualified," announced Harump. "Gulp lead 2 points to 1. The old man said, pulling a disgusted face. "Now, would someone get this boy some soap?" When most of the manure had been scrubbed away, Vulgar hurried back over to Freya and Knut. "Gunnar keeps cheating. I'm not going to let him get away with it," he fumed. "That's the spirit. You show him what blubberers are made of," said Freya. Blubber?" suggested Knut hopefully. "No," said Freya impatiently. "I mean, Vulgar's going to win the goat hurdling." "Yeah," shouted Vulgar. "Real Vikings never give up." "But what if Gunnar cheats again?" asked Knut. "Don't worry, I'll think of something," muttered Freya darkly. "It's time to lock horns again," announced Harump. He pointed over to the edge of the field. "Take your places for the goat hurdling." Vulgar jogged across to the starting line. After his impressive hurdle over the garden wall during training yesterday, he was feeling confident. How much harder could it be to hurdle a few goats? "Be-you!" sniffed Gunnar. "Did you stand in something, Vulgar?" "You're just a cheater," retorted Vulgar. "A cheater? The fastest animal on earth? Why, yes. Then I am a cheater, said Gunner with a smirk. Bang! Shouted Harumph again, and both boys began to run. The rules of the event were simple. There were 20 goats grazing on the hill beside Braggy's field. Both competitors had to leap over every one of the goats, run to the top of the hill, then back down. The first one to reach the finish line would be the winner. They were neck and neck as they hurdled the first goat. It blinked lazily, then went back to chewing the grass. They cleared the second goat at the same time, and the third and the fourth. As Vulgar got ready to leap the fifth goat, he tripped on a rock. Knocked off balance, Vulgar fell clumsily. He landed with an oof on the goat's back. Gunner hooted with laughter and said, "Guess you were kidding when you said you were going to win." Startled, the goat began to charge. As Vulgar was bounced along on its back, it looked ahead in the direction of the animal was running. There was Gunner racing on. There was Gunner's bottom, dead ahead, and there were the goat's horns, quickly closing the gap. Thunk! Ah! The goat's horns rammed into Gunner's backside, and the boy fell flat on his face. Vulgar hopped from the goat's back in time to see a screaming Gunner roll all the way back down the hill. As Gunner reached the bottom, Vulgar saw Freya and Knut jump up and down with delight. Laughing, Vulgar hurdled his way up the hill. He was still chuckling a few minutes later when he ran back to the field to the sound of clapping and cheering. "That wasn't fair," Gunner growled. "Yeah?" Vulgar grinned. "You really got a bum deal." 2 points each, announced Harumph. "It all comes down to this final event." The old man pointed out to sea, past the frozen fjords to the dark water beyond. Let the ice swim begin. And tomorrow we will find out what happens in the ice swim. Well done for your hard work today, and have a lovely evening.